We will call to order the public hearing for April 3rd, 2023 on the town council budget, on the town manager's budget, I should say, and on the superintendents of schools budget as well. So with that, I will ask for a roll call from Madam Clerk.
Ms. Blanks is absent. Ms. Cantor is absent. Mr. Cortez?
Here.
Ms. Fay is absent. Ms. McGinnis?
Present.
Ms. Poland?
Present. Mr.
Sweeney?
Here.
Mr. Winograd?
Here.
And Mr. Zdanowicz is absent.
And with that, Mr. Manager, we provide 3 minutes. 3 minutes per. Is it 3 minutes or 3 minutes per person? If you're in, if you're out of town, just please let us know, and we will waive the rules to allow for that. But with that, we will go to the list. And first on the list is Maggie Roberts.
My name is Maggie Roberts, and I'm the parent of 2 children currently attending Smith STEM School, and I live in the Brayburn-zoned neighborhood of West Hartford. I have worked as a national literacy consultant for the past 15 years, and I have over 20 years' experience working in and for Title I schools. Today, I am speaking against the West Hartford School District proposed budget, specifically as it relates to the reduction of 1 magnet teacher, as reflected in the consolidation of the STEM and science positions. That's noted on page D7. The science position being referred to is the science lab teacher who teaches the district science curriculum to all 344 students at Smith, where students attend a weekly science lab. However, this position is inaccurately described as a science content coach when naming the rationale for the consolidation of these 2 full-time positions at Smith. On page G11, the narrative states the reduction of 1 position reflects the consolidation of a STEM specialist and a science content coach at an elementary school. Now, if this position was one of a content coach, the district's proposal to consolidate the duties of a specialist and a content coach would make more sense. However, this is not the case. This consolidation will therefore take away the very specialist position that designates Smith STEM as one of the 2 magnet schools in town. The decision would add responsibilities and workload of a full-time specialist to the plate of a full-time classroom teacher. A full-time teacher, by the way, that teaches in one of the 2 district-wide Title I schools, Smith STEM and Charter Oak. Title I is a federal grant that flows directly to boards of education. These funds must be directed towards schools with the highest percentage of students eligible for free and reduced meals. The Title I budget supports teachers who work directly with students, like Smith's science teacher, and like Smith STEM's specialist, educators that support professional learning in school-wide areas of focus. It is from this federal Title I funding source that the district is proposing the cut. This Title I funding source funds the very teaching positions that are integral to the success of the students at Smith, where 46% of students qualify for free and reduced meals over the past 10 years, where 25% of the students are English learners, the highest percentage this school has seen in 10 years, where students in these high needs groups score 18% higher than the state and 12% higher than the district equivalencies in statewide science assessments. Over 71% of students graduate Smith STEM proficient and exceeding at those science benchmarks. We, the families at Smith STEM, empathize with the impossibly hard decisions you have to make regarding the budgets at this town and school level. Our kids thrive from your decisions, but this impending decision concerns us from our vantage point. Consolidating 2 integral teaching positions from a school that receives Title I funding, it's an equity issue, and that must be reconsidered by our community. Now, if I have something wrong, let's talk. But based on what I'm seeing, it's what's happening. Title I schools need to be protected as possible from budget cuts.
Excuse me.
And for these reasons, I ask the board to reconsider those cuts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Next up is Jessica Labensis. Sorry if I butchered that.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Jessica Labensis, close enough. And I'm a resident of West Hartford. I'm also the parent of a magnet school student at Smith, and I'm here to oppose the budget cuts in the school budget for the next school year. As Maggie said, the superintendent's proposed budget would eliminate the STEM specialist position by consolidating it with the science lab teaching position. I submitted an email to you all earlier today, and I'd like to speak to two major concerns that I have. The first is efficiency, and I put that in quotes for a reason. In presenting the budget, the superintendent said that the budget cuts promote efficiency and will not reduce any programming or services in our schools. Unfortunately, we know that is not likely to be the case. The proposed consolidation of the STEM specialist position with the science lab position will in effect require one person to do the job of two. Smith's STEM programs are robust, and they include more projects, lessons, field trips, and events than could possibly be coordinated by a single individual. The proposed consolidation will weaken the STEM curriculum as it will attempt to combine a classroom teacher position, who is responsible for science education for 6 grades, with the dedicated STEM specialist position. The STEM fields are rapidly changing, and Smith needs to be able to innovate its programming as technology changes. This simply won't be possible if the positions are combined. There won't be time. More importantly, the second piece I wanted to speak about is equity. I believe that a proposal to cut the STEM position at Smith does not meet the goals of West Hartford Public Schools' educational equity policy. The educational equity policy calls on educators and leaders to understand unique challenges and actively look for, identify, and remove barriers that individuals or groups of students face. According to the public schools policy, equity in education includes fair and optimized resource allocation and distribution. The proposed cut at Smith does not represent fair or equitable resource allocation. Now, West Hartford has made strides towards equity by developing and, importantly, funding high-quality magnet schools that offer top-notch programming. As Maggie said, Smith is a Title I school and one of 2 magnet schools in West Hartford whose purpose is to combat racial segregation and imbalance in West Hartford schools. Smith and Charter Oak, the other magnet school, each have unique programming intended to draw families from every corner of West Hartford in order to promote integration. At Smith, 66.36% of students are considered minority compared to the district total of 44.35%. As Maggie said, students who are considered high needs are disproportionately represented at Smith, which has higher percentages of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, who are English language learners, and who have disabilities. Equity calls for allocating resources, including people, time, and money, in a way that ensures that students who face greater learning challenges are able to learn and achieve despite their income level and zip code. According to data from the U.S. Department of Education Civil Rights Division, students of color and students with disabilities are disproportionately excluded from learning opportunities in STEM. The STEM program at Smith has provided...
Excuse me, can you please summarize?
Yep. I'm almost done. The STEM program at Smith has provided inclusive and equitable STEM opportunities to students who face learning challenges, and we fear that any cut in the STEM programming will harm all students. We urge the town council to make any necessary changes to the town's budget to enable Smith to retain its STEM specialist and science lab teacher positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Heather.
Good afternoon, Town Council members. My name is Heather Sansone, and I live here in West Hartford. I'm here today to express my concern about the proposed cuts by the Board of Education that I believe will have a significant negative impact on the Smith STEM School's STEM education. Over the past 5 days, I've written pretty much any person I could think of an email. Probably all of you got one. I've never seen the word purview used more. This includes when I pursued my master's and was employed for Apple Computers, where I my husband edited this. While I myself do not have purview over budgets and educational policy, I do have purview over the well-being of my 2 children, a first grader at Smith and a 4-year-old future Smith hopeful. We are a magnet family at Smith, fortunate enough to be afforded this coveted spot through the lottery. Smith is the only magnet program to which we applied because the STEM inquiry-based curriculum is exactly what we wanted for our children. Our son is neurodiverse and has been interested in how things work since birth. Nothing makes me happier as a parent than promoting his atypical strengths throughout his academic life, and Smith perfectly supports his development and education. Additionally, Smith can open a whole new world of career possibilities, not only for our son, but for our daughter, which, according to the most recent U.S. Census, is an area where women only comprise 27% of STEM workers, despite making up half the entire workforce. The Board of Education does have purview over the proposed cut and consolidation. This forces me to ask how the integrity of the STEM curriculum at a STEM school is not compromised by such a proposal. Smith STEM is a Title I school in a high-needs neighborhood. Despite nearly half the student population requiring assistance, the school has outperformed every other school in science and math testing in town and is in top 5 of the state. This current model works. How will the BOE be able to guarantee this level of excellence, particularly in science and technology, when they are reducing hours spent developing the very cutting-edge curriculum to practically nothing? With the result being an entire inquiry-based STEM curriculum with no leader at its helm. She'll be in the science lab. To hear the Charter Oak stats being used as justification for the proposed cut to Smith STEM was disheartening and confusing. A STEM program requires a different set of priorities, initiatives, and resources. For example, Smith STEM does not have a Chinese teacher, and Charter Oak does, which perfectly serves the needs of Charter Oak's IB programming. As such, Charter Oak would not require a dedicated, singularly focused STEM curriculum position as STEM does. In addition, both magnet schools were created to address racial and socioeconomic imbalance in this town. How will Smith be able to continue to offer rich STEM experiences above and beyond just a weekly science lab, and thus attracting the magnet families to leave their wealthier neighborhood schools? In 2017, a Greenwich Time article quoted Mark Overmeyer Velasquez, chair then of the West Hartford School Board, as saying, "The most important part of it is the people in the building. Magnets must have a clear and powerful draw on families, which starts with a dynamic, known principal and exceptionally talented teachers." This strikes at the heart of the educational equity that both magnet schools were created to address. Can I just say my last sentence? This town has made a commitment to its residents when choosing to adopt a STEM model, and I'm respectfully asking all of you today, whose purview is overseeing the amount of money given to the BOE, to find more funding and honor the commitment to the integrity and equity in education that we know is an immense source of pride to this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay Cook.
Hello there. My name is Lindsay Cook. I am a West Hartford resident, concerned Smith STEM parent, taxpayer, voter, and educator with close to 15 years of experience. I'm addressing the Town Council today in opposition to the elimination of the STEM specialist at Smith STEM Magnet as proposed in the 2023 to 24 budget by the BOE. I'm also a teacher. I left my classroom in the middle of the day. I left my children with subs so I could be here to speak to you. It matters that much to me. Sorry. As I'm sure you know, in West Hartford, there are 2 school-wide Title I schools, Charter Oak and Smith STEM. These are schools that have over 40% of the student population that fall below the poverty line and qualify for free and reduced lunch. Both magnets have higher rates of chronic absences, as well as higher representation of Hispanic, Black, and Asian students than the district-wide average. At Smith STEM, 25% of the students are second language learners compared to the district-wide average of 7.6%. I'm sure you also are aware that both magnet schools have special programming, an IB program at Charter Oak and STEM program at Smith. The design behind these programs is to attract families like my own from across the district who select an enhanced curriculum, something special, something beyond what is offered by a neighborhood school. The goal of the magnet program is to create greater racial and socioeconomic diversity. Magnet programs like these provide educational opportunities to students who have historically faced barriers due to race, economics, and language or cultural differences. The strong inquiry-based program at Smith achieves this goal and should be considered a success. In the recent budget proposal by the BOE, the role of STEM curriculum specialist is eliminated, gutting the Magnet program and its mission. This is one of the few elementary level position eliminations in this proposed budget, and it takes resources away from a school that serves one of the most racially and socioeconomically diverse communities in West Hartford. So why is a STEM specialist essential? The STEM specialist designs the inquiry-based curriculum, organizes STEM experiences and after-school enrichment programming, and works alongside classroom teachers to provide an authentic STEM magnet experience. Asking a science teacher whose time is primarily spent in the classroom to take on the responsibilities of a full-time curriculum specialist is just unreasonable. Asking the parent body from a school which regularly has one of the smallest PTO budgets in the district to pick up the slack is just not an option. The Board of Education equity policy states that it aims to reduce racial, ethnic, and economic isolation of our students, and that the Board of Education will directly target interventions and supports that address identified inequities and help maintain school cultures that support our mission to enhance the global community. Please explain to me how eliminating a key position at a STEM magnet school is in line with that mission. A town with a tax rate this high and resources this abundant, to me it is unacceptable that the budget cuts made will target the least privileged in our community. I urge the Town Council and the Board of Education to please find another solution to this budget problem. I believe that we all have a moral responsibility to promote budget policies that move forward educational and racial equality. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone here that has not signed up that would like to speak today? Yep. Come on up to the podium. Just state your name and address.
Yes, hi. I am Steve Chamberlain. I am a resident of the town. I have a son in the kindergarten at Smith STEM as well as in the second grade.
Steve, where do you live? I
live here in West Hartford.
What's your address?
25 Clearview Avenue in West Hartford.
Thank you.
I can't, the amazing facts that were presented today, I just want to say I hope you guys pay attention to the amount of effort and the knowledge and the data that went into those presentations. I'm here to talk to you guys about the optics of what you're doing or what you're proposed to do. There was a lot of talk about socioeconomic issues here. And the children, this is what they have. They don't have a household where they can get extra help. They don't have these households where they can get private tutors. They don't have a leg up on most of the other citizens of this town. What they have is a special school, these dedicated staff members that put them above the rest. I don't see cuts happening at Bugby. I don't see cuts happening at all the other privileged neighborhoods in town. Certainly seems like, and we've got a reporter in here in the building, certainly seems like when it's time to make a hard decision, let's go down to the lower economic neighborhood and we'll make it there. Same reason why those same kids have to get bused 40 minutes across town when it's time to go to middle school, instead of going straight up the road to their other middle school. Because in 1990, when some more diversity was needed, somebody with a big magic marker drew a division line and said, let's just truck those kids across town. That's how they get treated in this town. So just so you guys know, when you're making your vote, the optics of what you're doing speak very, very loudly. Consider that closely. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't think is there anyone else that wishes to testify today? Okay.
Good afternoon, members of the Town Council. Just as emotional as I was the other night, for those of you who know me, my name is Sarah Barzak. I'm a West Hartford resident. I'm a parent of a 4th grader at Smith STEM Magnet School. I also have a 7th grader who is a former student and graduate of Smith. He was there kindergarten to 5th grade. So we've been a Smith STEM magnet family for a number of years. I've been a parent volunteer since kindergarten and have had increasing responsibility helping our STEM specialist with after-school programming for STEAM PM. And talking about equity and access, one of the areas we're able to provide our students is after-school STEAM PM programming twice a year. And for many of our students, when we listen to the statistics that other parents have shared, they don't have parents with cars who can bring them to museum programs after school and Spanish lessons and art class and sports. So we have things right on site for them to participate in. The STEM specialist, I've seen her firsthand, and I've seen the work of our science teacher, and there's no way that either of them could carry out the work they need to do and that they have done with fidelity to the STEM model if you consolidate the positions. We have wonderful statistics, again, as parents have shared earlier, but we cannot rest on those laurels. There is so much work to be done in this current population. We're so proud of their work and energy and effort, but we need to keep the resources there. I will say that one of the habits of mine, there are 7 at Smith, and one that we talk about in our house is perseverance. And so I'm proud of this group of parents, and please know that we are here today, but not everyone can take time off of work. Not everyone has transportation. Not everyone has the language skills to be able to stand up here. And so we represent a very large parent population. And we are persevering for our kids, and we are their voice so that they know we care about their academic learning. So please reconsider your decision to combine the full-time staff positions into one at Smith Magnet School. Thank you.
Sarah, and Steve, can I just have you guys afterwards? I just have to get your names and all that stuff for the record. Yeah, that'd be great. And your address.
All right, Sarah Barzak, 309 Westmont.
Thank you. Well, if there's no one else, I just want to state for the record the council, while we appreciate those emails, we didn't construct the Board of Ed's budget and appreciate what you guys are doing, and think the advocacy is fantastic. You know, if you feel that way, keep coming and appreciate that. But when addressed, we did not make a cut on that. So I think there's a lot of us that have kids in the school district, and I think we are all trying to work together to put together a budget that is equitable for this entire town, and we appreciate you guys and your advocacy. And with that, unless there's any comments or questions, I will close the public hearing.
No, we don't do questions.
No, I said we don't. I said I'm closing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Closing it. Thank you.
I thought you were leaving it open.
Of the kids at Smith, as well as the kids in the town, that I did, just because it's such a bragging point for our town, as well as the letter that details those successes.